In the opulent shadows of Al-Miraj Palace, nestled amid the endless dunes of the Arabian Peninsula, Sheikh Elias Blackwood reigned not as a king of sands, but as a prisoner of his own fading light. Once a visionary prince whose laughter echoed through the bazaars like the call to prayer, Elias had been struck down by a merciless affliction, a rare neurological storm that twisted his nerves into knots of unrelenting pain. His body, once sculpted by the rigors of falconry and desert rides, now betrayed him with tremors that rattled his golden chalice and a voice that lashed out like a sandstorm's whip. The palace healers whispered of a curse from ancient jinn, but Elias knew better. It was the weight of unspoken grief, the ghost of his late wife, Leora, who had slipped away in childbirth 5 years prior, leaving him adrift in a sea of silk and sorrow. Nurses came from the finest academies in Dubai and beyond, their credentials gleaming like the jewels in Elias's turban. But none endured. The first, a poised woman named Clara, lasted 3 days before fleeing in tears, her arms bruised from his involuntary flails during night seizures. "He's a devil in silk," she confided to the majordomo, her voice trembling. The second, Drive, Helena Voss, armed with sedatives and stern resolve, quit after a week, claiming the air itself was poisoned by his rage. One by one, they crumbled under the onslaught, not just the physical torment, but the emotional inferno Elias unleashed to shield his shattered soul. "Leave me to rot," he'd roar, his emerald eyes flashing like embers in the lantern light. The palace corridors echoed with their hurried footsteps, a symphony of defeat. The Sheikh's isolation deepened, a velvet tomb where hope dared not tread. Then came Sophia Grace, a whisper of serenity in a storm of white coats. At 28, Sophia was no ordinary nurse. She was a wanderer with a healer's heart, her auburn hair cascading like autumn leaves over shoulders that had borne the weight of her own losses. Orphaned young in the misty hills of the Scottish countryside, she had channeled her grief into medicine, specializing in palliative care for the untouchable elite. Her name, Sophia, meaning wisdom, suited her ethereal grace, porcelain skin dusted with freckles, eyes the color of twilight skies, and a smile that held the quiet power of forgotten lullabies. Recruited by Elias's desperate advisor, she arrived unannounced one sweltering dawn, her simple linen dress a stark contrast to the palace's gilded excess. The majordomo warned her, "He will break you, Miss Grace." Sophia merely tilted her head, her voice a gentle brook. "Or perhaps, I will mend what is broken." She entered his chambers without fanfare, the scent of jasmine from her skin mingling with the heavy incense. Elias lay propped on a divan of crimson velvet, his once mighty frame gaunt beneath brocade robes, sweat beading on his furrowed brow. A tremor seized his hand as he clutched a faded photograph, Leora, radiant and gone. "Who dares?" he snarled, his accent a velvet rumble laced with pain. Sophia knelt beside him, unfazed, her fingers cool as she adjusted his IV without a flinch. "I am Sophia," she said softly, "and I am here to stay." He laughed bitterly, a sound like cracking marble. "Foolish girl, you'll run like the rest." But she didn't. That first night, when the seizures clawed at him like desert thorns, Sophia held his gaze, singing a haunting Gaelic melody her mother had taught her, a tune of lost lovers finding solace in the stars. Her voice wove through the agony, a silken thread pulling him from the abyss. He slept, truly slept, for the first time in months. Days blurred into weeks, and Sophia became the palace's quiet enigma. While others had tiptoed around Elias's fury, she met it with unyielding tenderness. She learned his rhythms, the way pain sharpened at noon, when the sun mocked his weakness, the flicker of vulnerability in his eyes when he spoke of Leora, her laughter a melody he could no longer hum. One evening, as twilight painted the minarets in hues of rose and gold, Sophia wheeled him to the private gardens. The air hummed with nightingales, and fireflies danced like wandering souls. "Why do you not fear me?" Elias asked, his voice stripped of its barbs for the first time. Sophia paused, tracing the veins on his hand, strong, despite the betrayal of his body. "Fear is a thief, Sheikh. It steals the chance to see the man beneath the storm." She shared her own scars then, The car accident that claimed her parents on a rain-slicked Highland road, leaving her to stitch her heart with stethoscopes and sutures. Grief is not a chain to drag you under, she whispered. It's a river. You must learn to swim. Elias's chest tightened, not from pain, but from the dawn of recognition. In her, he saw Leora's echo, not a replacement, but a bridge to healing. He reached for her hand, tentative as a fawn's first step, and she laced her fingers through his, warm and sure. As moons waxed and waned, Sophia's care transcended medicine. She introduced him to the palace's hidden library, reading aloud from Rumi's verses on love's alchemy, turning leaden sorrow to golden light. Together, they watched falconry displays from the balcony, her laughter coaxing his own, rusty at first, then rich and resonant. The tremors eased, not by miracle drug, but by the balm of connection. Neurologists marveled. The palace buzzed with whispers of a sorceress. But Sophia knew the truth. Healing was no spell, but a shared vulnerability, a dance of souls in the quiet hours. The turning point came on a night of shooting stars, when Elias's fever spiked like a vengeful spirit. Delirious, he thrashed, crying out Leora's name. Sophia bathed his brow, her tears mingling with his sweat. I'm here, Elias, she murmured, cradling him as a mother would a child. Let go, let me carry you. In that fevered haze, he confessed the depths of his isolation, the fear that love was a fleeting mirage, doomed to evaporate. You are my oasis, he breathed, his hand steady on her cheek for the first time. As dawn broke, the fever shattered, and with it, the walls around his heart. Months later, under a canopy of date palms heavy with fruit, Elias stood, unaided, for the first time in years. The palace courtiers gathered, their murmurs a tide of awe. But his eyes sought only Sophia, radiant in emerald silk that matched his gaze. You did not heal my body alone, he said, voice steady as the desert wind. You mended my soul. On bended knee, he offered a ring of ancient gold, etched with stars, a vow not of possession, but of partnership. Be my light, Sophia Grace. Walk this path with me. Tears glistened in her eyes, but her smile was the sun. I already am, my prince. The union was no fairy tale's end, but a beginning, a testament that even in the harshest sands, love could bloom, fierce and unyielding. Elias Blackwood rose anew, not as the shadowed Sheikh, but as a man reborn, guardian of dunes and dreams, forever tethered to the woman who dared to stay. And in the halls of Al-Miraj, where once only echoes of despair lingered, now resounded the melody of two hearts, beating as one. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles. If it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us. Heart.